Pronouns to one and all. Now let us see remedial teaching. Teachers teach first and they go for test or ask any question like that. So they go for test, and now through this test the teacher will understand how the people are making learning. Here there will be some two specific conditions. One, some students are not at all making learning, and the second situation is making learning but incorrectly. So in this kind of situations, the teacher will go for reteaching. So this is a simple idea of remedial teaching. We teach first and we take a test later, and if the students are not making learning or making learning incorrectly, we go for reteaching. This is the process of remedial teaching. So remedial teaching is providing instructional correctives. So we correct the instructional requirements if at all the student is making incorrect learning. And this remedial teaching is a process of removing people's learning distortions. Distortions is subject matter difficulties. By this we eliminate the subject matter difficulties of the learners. And you see, it is a great line here. It is a natural step or next natural step after the diagnostic testing. So after conducting a diagnostic test, you are supposed to conduct remedial teaching. So since the diagnostic test has come, it is part and participle. It is means the remedial teaching is a part and participle of formative assessment. So now let us see the remedial teaching's important notion. It is like a foundation. Remedial teaching is a foundation, or it lays groundwork for many things. Okay, it is a groundwork for students' lifelong learning and assisting them in the development of healthy habits and attitudes or values, and preparing the students for future studies and careers. So it is like a foundation or laying a groundwork for the students to have a lifelong learning and assisting the students in the development of healthy attitudes and values, and preparing the students for future studies and careers. One more important thing you can see here, the remedial teaching is, what is the remedial teaching? It is individualized educational programs with intensive support to help the students. It is another definition. Here through the remedial teaching, you offer individual educational program with intensive support to help the students. Okay, and another one, that is the objectives of remedial teaching we are going to see now. The first one is very much important in the objectives, that is the aim of remedial teaching is to eliminate ineffective habits. So through this remedial teaching, we remove ineffective habits and reteaching. The second aim is reteaching incorrectly learned skills. So two things are there. One is removing or elimination of ineffective habits, and second one is reteaching the incorrectly learned skills. And here the second objective comes, providing individualized educational programs with intensive support to help the students. This is the second objective, and this is the definition of remedial teaching also. individual educational programs with intensive support to help the students is remedial teaching, or if we make it to providing, then this is the objective. And third one is offering learning support to students who are not doing well compared to their peers. So here we offer learning support if at all a student is not making learning properly compared to other students, and providing learning exercises and practical experiences to students based on their skills and needs. Based upon the skills and needs of the students, we create some learning experiences and practical experiences. Here, teachers try to improve some general skills. Teachers try to improve general skills like or generic skills like interpersonal relationships, communication, problem solving, self management, self learning, critical thought, etc., etc., by providing formal instruction. So the teachers will go for formal teaching and improve generic skills like interpersonal, etc., etc. So all these are the generic skills which will be improved by the remedial teaching, by a formal teaching. Now let us see the relationship among between remedial teaching and assessment. So remedial teaching is a part of formative assessment. Already it is mentioned, it is a part of formative assessment. Since it is a part of formative assessment, it may be the part of summative assessment also, and also class test or diagnostic test. So remedial teaching is a part of these three. Then remedial teaching is as part of formative assessment. Just now I have mentioned it is the part of formative assessment and even SJ and also test. So as part of formative assessment, it diagnoses and addresses the gaps in learning. It diagnoses the gaps in learning and addresses the gaps in learning. These are the two key factors of the remedial teaching: diagnosing and addressing gaps of learning. Then process of remedial teaching, already mentioned. Remedial teaching involves the three process: teaching, testing and reteaching. Okay, and this remedial teaching is for both learners and also for students, for the teachers. How? For the learners to learn better, and for the teacher to improve, their teaching. So for the students to learn better, and for the teacher to improve their teaching. Teachers can remediate for the students with language learning difficulty by focusing on individual progress with individualized instruction. Here, the teachers will focus on individual progress, and they will come up with individualized instruction. The teachers will come up with the individualized instruction. In the remedial teaching, there will be mechanical drill. The aim of this mechanical drill as part of remedial teaching is to encourage creative use of language among the learners. This mechanical drill's aim is to encourage creative use of language among the learning. It is most important question. Now let us see some misconceptions about remedial teaching. that people think that remedial teaching is only for poor learner. No, it is not that. Students requiring remedial teaching are not stupid or dumb. Even gifted learners, even gifted learners may require the same. Even gifted learners require this remedial teaching. So this is done. The remedial teaching is done to help the students, to realize their maximum potential and capability. So this is the basic aim of the remedial teaching, that to realize the maximum potential and capability of the learner. So this is useful for both poor learner as well as gifted children also. Now let us look at the difference between remedy teaching and special education. So these two are different. Remedial teaching and special education are not same. Special education is intended to address ongoing needs of the students with disabilities. So special education is given to address the needs of the students with disabilities in order to assist them, while remedial teaching is intended to bridge the difference between what the student has already learned and he has to learn in future. So remedial teaching is used to bridge the gap between what a student knows already and what he has to know in future. But special education is intended to address the needs of the disabilities, needs of the students with disabilities. Special education is meant for to assess the needs, of the students with disabilities. But this one is remedial services or teaching is for bridging the gap. So one is for fulfillment of needs. Special education is for fulfillment of needs of the students with the disabilities, whereas remedial teaching is for bridging the gap between what the student has already known and what he has to know in future. Now let us see the strategies in remedial teaching. There are three strategies, like response to intervention, RTI, MTSS, multi-tier level of services, and individualized educational program. So the first one, RTI, is a tracking system how students are learning. Just we track with this intervention or strategy. And second one, MTSS, is a strategy which will offer various kinds of learning experiences. So this MTSS offer various kinds of learning experiences in order to eliminate the difficulties in learning. And third one, individualized educational program, IEP. True to its name, it is individualized educational program. So it is its aim is at the particular individual learner. So according to that individual learner, some educational program will be taken place here. So like this, three strategies are there in this remedial teaching. So first one, RTI, response to intervention, and even multi services also. These two systems are used by several schools to assist the struggling students. These two will be assisting the struggling students, those who are facing learning difficulties. There are some learning difficulties, and to assist such kind of learners who are facing these kind of learning difficulties, we use RTI and the MTSS as the strategies of the remedial teaching. These are the learning difficulties faced by the students. Some are that poor memorization power, short attention span, and are easily distracted, low level of comprehensive control, like that, etc., etc. Some learning difficulties are there. uh, to assist the students who are facing learning difficulties, we have two strategies, of the two strategies of remedial teaching. One is RTA and the second one is MTSS. The RTA method places a strong emphasis on tracking how students react to instructional interventions. So it is a tracking system. Already I mentioned that how people are making learning. That is what, how students are reacting to instructional interventions. And this form of remediation is also beneficial to students who have learning gaps, not only having difficulties, learning difficulties, but also having some learning gaps. For that people also it is useful. And however certain students cannot benefit from remedial programs. If the students are not benefited through the remedial program, this may indicate that they have some learning disability, so if learning disability is there, remedial teaching is not the correct solution. But for the learning difficulties, this remedial teaching is the correct solution. Now, coming to the second strategy, MTSS, multi-tier level of services. What does it do? It offers various kinds of learning experiences for eliminating learning gaps. So it will be used when there is a learning gap. So it will be eliminating all those learning gaps. MTSS will eliminate all those gaps. And now the last one is the individualized educational program, IEP. This IEP seeks to strengthen the basis of learning. So this IEP program strengthens the basis of learning in the learner, strengthens the basis of learning, and this program assists the students in overcoming their learning challenges. So this IEP assists the students to overcome their learning challenges and also improve the potentialities of the learners in order to meet learning needs of each individual. So this IEP enhances the basis of learning and assist the students to overcome learning challenges and improves their potentialities. So that's all for this remedial teaching. Thank you very much.